And up next, we have a summit to consist of myself. I will be moderating, Miss Laura Foose. We will have Miss Leah A. Henry joining us, and also Candace Dillard Bassett. Can I have you guys introduce yourselves to our audience? Leah, can we start with you?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm Leah Henry. I am a radio personality and a multimedia producer in the DMV. And I'm a radio personality, multimedia personality, and grew up, been around the block a couple times, but yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Leah's Lemonade.
Well, Leah's Lemonade is a segment that I created that kind of grew its own legs, but it is a entertainment segment that I've kind of turned into my brand Full Force, where I conduct interviews and do other media spotlights on there as well.
Yes, she's being so humble, you guys. She's popping. And Miss Laura Foose, can I have you introduce yourself as well?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Laura Foose, the owner and CEO of Foose Financial Services, as well as if you're in the DMV, you probably know or have heard of us. I'm one of the owners of DC Salon Couture, 5-time winner of the Steve Harvey Neighborhood Awards.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Candace Dillard Bassett. As my lower third says, I'm a consultant. I'm a pageant consultant. I'm an actress. And I'm also on this little tiny show called Potomac Housewives, something like that. But I am really excited to be here today. Women's empowerment of people in general is something that has always been my calling. So I'm really excited to be here to talk to you and just have an open dialogue about things that matter, because we're in a time where I think it's easy to get distracted by, fodder, if you will. And so having conversations that are going to foster and empower and infuse and pour into all of us, myself included, is very important. And I'm excited to be here and have a good kiki with the people today.
This event is about bringing awareness to human sex trafficking and organ harvesting. And we all are gorgeous women thriving in our industry, and we have to interact with people within our industry. How do you protect yourself or stay vigilant? I guess you can say when you have to interact with clients or cover different events, or how do you personally make sure that you're not a target for sex trafficking or just any foolishness that comes within your industry? Leah, can you take this one?
Yeah, I don't know if I've necessarily been targeted for sex trafficking, although I will say that honestly, you don't have to think you're a target to be one. So let's be very clear, because you're abducting Black women left and right at your grocery store, on your walk and on your jog. That's very clear. But in a general sense, for me, I want to say that, I try to protect myself and my energy, and that's truly aligned in faith. Like, I believe that, God is always working in my good. And even when things are not going my way or the way that I would like things to be, I think if you constantly have that small bit of faith in your mind and believe that, there is something better or there is something bigger than you that is working on your behalf, you have a little bit more peace at night. I'm not saying it ain't difficult, but it helps you, lay on your pillow after the tears fall on it.
Yeah. Candace, how about yourself?
I have to sort of agree wholeheartedly with Leah. For me, I was raised in the South, Southern Baptist. We are very, very serious about our covering and about the blood of Jesus covering us. So that I use my faith to keep me sane. I grew up in a house where my mother was always very, be on the lookout, be aware of your surroundings. I learned early that you can't trust everyone, even people who you think you might be able to trust. And then I remember coming to Washington, D.C. to attend Howard University, and I had grown up, in white suburbs. So, to leave that and come to Chocolate City, and they dropped me in the middle of Northwest DC, honey. It was like, what is going on? The shock of the culture. So that was an experience for me, and I had to learn to adjust my trust and adjust the way that I interacted, adjust even the way that my body language, the way that my nonverbal communication, so to speak. But even, sex trafficking doesn't just happen, when you're walking down Georgia Ave with your headphones in. You could be in a work environment or in an environment where you might trust people, and you just never know, who's up to no good. So it really does just come down to, for me, reading the room, understanding that, well, yes, I want to foster good relationships with the people that I'm interacting with. It's just using, your common sense. And if you don't have that, just using your instincts, right? To discern who may or may not be here for you and working in your best interest.
Yes, and you just took the words out of my mouth. Discernment. Discernment is something that I feel like you have to ask God for, especially being in the entertainment industry. It's all about who networking with people. And I'm the type of person, I see the good in everyone, like, especially growing up. Like, my mom would be the one that's like, no, I don't want you hanging around this girl. And I'm like, Mom, why are you being so mean? And then 2 months later, Mom,
oh my gosh. Right. Right.
My friends are like the same way. I'm usually the one that's like super nice, and my friends like, I don't trust her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you being so mean? And then sure enough, so again, I kind of spoke with Rel about this a little earlier, having to travel by myself sometimes, especially in this industry. Sometimes you have to get up and go alone, or, some people may slide in your DMs like, oh, they're up to good, but they're really not up to any good. And so I've had to ask for that discernment, because you just never know who has alternative motives for you, So Laura, what are some ways that I guess you can say you've been able to protect yourself or just put up those boundaries? Because I think boundaries is another thing that I personally had to learn. I've had to ask myself, okay, what are my boundaries in order to prevent me from falling into certain patterns or situations?
Exactly. And I think even for me, now I'm not in the entertainment business, even though I like to think I am, when I'm on Instagram and doing my lives.
You look like it, girl. Yes.
But I am. But even though just in doing business and through the salon throws a lot of events and a lot of parties in the city. So we do know a lot of people, and they get fussed at me all, my partners, fuss at me all the time that maybe you're too friendly, but I'm very friendly with people online. And I had a conversation with a girlfriend the other day that, social media is one thing, but when it comes to meeting people one-on-one, I really don't meet people one-on-one. Normally it is a group setting. Even when we're doing taxes, I set my tax business up that very rarely do I meet clients in person. Also, like I said, even in just purchasing a commercial office space, it's mainly just for us to work together, but not to meet, and I think in business, for all of us being, women, having to be very careful, because a lot of my clients are men, but I try to make sure that it stays strictly business. I think that Candace had said, being careful what we portray to them. So I never want to get too friendly or to allow them to even think that it is, that way. And I've been that way for forever, even with like friends of friends. I make sure that, like, when you have your girlfriends and their significant others may contact you, like, I cut all of that off. I'm very protective of who I communicate with in real life outside of social media. And I have a daughter that's a junior in college in Philadelphia. So she's not with me all the time when school's in session. So we have to have those conversations all the time about. And I still believe in the gut instinct. Like, if you feel it, then don't do it. Like, even though it may seem like a great opportunity, you're going to meet someone, or like, look at who reached out to me and go. Most of the time, even though those, popular, wealthy people, that can be a whole setup too. So I'm always like, no, I don't. I don't interact with people, one-on-one basis. Like, anything now we found through the pandemic, any business that we need to discuss, we can discuss through Zoom. I really don't need to meet you in person. It's very rare now that we need to meet someone. Yes. Yeah. So think and being aware, just like having these conversations, think about how many young women, and even unfortunately young men too, if their parents are not having those conversations with them, things to look for, or like I said, I always go back to the gut instinct. He always lets me know if it's not right, just don't go, don't do it. Stick to that gut instinct.